My name is Sarah Collins, and I am 28 years old. 3 weeks ago, I ended a 3-year relationship in the most chaotic way possible, and I'm still processing how fast everything unraveled once the truth finally showed itself. Mark, my boyfriend, is 31. For most of our relationship, things felt solid. Not perfect, but real. We talked about moving in together. We talked about engagement. We talked about next year like it was already promised. That's why the shift caught me off guard. About 6 weeks ago, things started feeling off. Not dramatic, just wrong. He guarded his phone like it held state secrets. He worked late more often. Plans became vague. When I asked what was going on, he accused me of being paranoid. Said I was imagining problems because I was stressed. I tried to believe him, but intuition doesn't disappear just because someone calls it insecurity. My best friend Maya had been watching this quietly. We've known each other since college. She knows my patterns, and she knew this wasn't one of my overthinking spirals. Let's test it, she said one night. Calm, practical, not to trap him, just to confirm. Maya is beautiful, confident, and completely uninterested in Mark, which made her perfect. The plan was simple. Mark goes to the same bar every Thursday with coworkers. Maya would show up alone, strike up conversation, and see what happened. I'd be listening through her phone, parked 2 blocks away, heart racing, hoping I was wrong. Thursday night came. The first 20 minutes were harmless. Casual bar talk, laughing. Then Maya said lightly, "So, do you come here often?" Mark laughed. "Every Thursday. Better view now, though." My stomach dropped. He leaned in, complimented her eyes, her smile, asked about her interests. 40 minutes of him performing like a single man. At one point, he said the sentence that still makes my chest tighten. "I don't usually do this, but you're different. Can I get your number?" Maya paused, then asked, "Don't you have a girlfriend?" "It's complicated," Mark said. "We're basically roommates at this point." Roommates. 3 years together, and I was reduced to furniture. He went further, complained that I was needy, that our relationship felt suffocating, that he was planning to end things soon. Listening to him rewrite our life to a stranger felt surreal, like watching someone wear your face and lie through it. After 10 more minutes, I texted Maya to wrap it up. She gave him a fake number and left. I went home before Mark and acted normal when he came in later. He kissed me hello, asked about my day. I smiled and felt something inside me go quiet. The next morning, over coffee, I looked at him and said, "Hey, want to explain what happened last night?" He didn't even look up from his phone. What nothing happened. I played the recording. His face drained of color so fast it almost scared me. "This doesn't sound like nothing," I said. He stood up, furious. "You set me up. Are you insane?" "And you fell for it," I replied. "Interesting priority." That's when I knew this wasn't about betrayal. It was about what he did next. Mark didn't apologize. That was the first thing that really landed. He didn't say he was sorry for flirting. He didn't say he was sorry for lying. He didn't even try to explain why he'd told another woman that I was basically a roommate he was planning to dump. Instead, he focused on one thing. "You set me up." His voice got louder, as if volume could rewrite reality. He paced the kitchen, running his hands through his hair like he was the victim of some elaborate crime. "This is entrapment," he said. "You manipulated the situation. This doesn't even count." I sat there, calm in a way that surprised even me. "I created an opportunity," I said. "You made a choice." That's when he crossed the line that permanently changed how I saw him. "If you weren't so insecure and controlling," he said, staring me straight in the eyes, "I wouldn't have needed to look elsewhere. You made me do this." For a second, I honestly thought I misheard him. Then I laughed. Not a bitter laugh, not a dramatic one, just a stunned, disbelieving sound that came from pure shock. "Oh," I said slowly, "so this is my fault." "You tested me like I'm some kind of criminal," he shot back. "What kind of person does that? If you had just trusted me—" "You just tried to get another woman's number," I interrupted, while telling her your girlfriend of 3 years was a roommate you were planning to dump. He clenched his jaw. Maybe I should have cheated. At least then this whole stunt would make sense. That was it. I stood up and told him to get out. He refused at first, said we needed to talk, said I was overreacting, said I was ruining everything over one conversation. So I called my brother. My brother showed up in 15 minutes. He didn't yell, he didn't threaten, he just stood there, arms crossed, looking at Mark like a problem that was about to be removed. Mark packed a bag real fast after that. As he walked out, he turned and said, "You're going to regret this. No one's going to want someone as paranoid and manipulative as you." The door closed behind him. I changed the locks that afternoon. $200. Worth every penny. I thought that would be the end of it. It wasn't. The messages started that night. Not apologies, never apologies, just accusations wrapped in concern. We need to talk. You took this too far. You have serious trust issues. Then his mother called. She didn't ask how I was. She didn't ask what happened. She went straight to the script. You humiliated my son, she said. Testing someone's loyalty is abuse. I told her exactly what I heard on that recording. He didn't actually cheat, she replied. He just talked. Boys will be boys. You can't expect perfection. The mental gymnastics were Olympic level. Then his friends started messaging me. Long paragraphs about how loyalty tests are toxic, how I violated his trust, how I was ruining his reputation over nothing. One of them actually said I was going to damage his future relationships. I replied once, his behavior will damage his future. I'm just being honest. Then I blocked him. That's when Mark escalated. He changed the passwords on my Netflix, Hulu, and Spotify accounts. Accounts I paid for. Accounts he had access to because I trusted him. I recovered them, changed everything, and took screenshots of every message he sent afterward accusing me of stealing from him. A random number texted me one night, "You're a manipulative witch who can't keep a man." He dodged a bullet. I didn't respond. What hurt the most wasn't the insults. It was running into people who used to smile at me and watching them turn away. His version of events had spread fast. Apparently, I was the villain now, the crazy girlfriend who psychologically tortured him with mind games. My best friend Maya started getting messages too, being called a homewrecker, being blamed for destroying a relationship that Mark had already set on fire. I was exhausted. But underneath the exhaustion, something else was growing. Resolve. Because every attempt to twist the story only confirmed one thing. I did not imagine this, and I was not wrong. By the third day, it became clear Mark wasn't trying to fix anything. He was trying to rewrite it. My phone lit up constantly. 30, sometimes 40 messages a day. The tone shifted by the hour. One moment, it was rage. Accusations about psychological abuse. Paragraphs dissecting my character like he was diagnosing me. Then suddenly, it flipped. I miss you. I still love you. We can work through your trust issues. I didn't respond to a single message. I screenshotted everything. Every threat. Every insult. Every emotional whiplash attempt. I didn't know what I'd need it for yet, but something told me I would. His mom called again. 3 times in one day. I ignored the first 2, answered the third. You need to apologize to my son and take him back, she said immediately. I'm sorry, what? He made a small mistake. You completely overreacted. He tried to cheat on me. He didn't actually cheat, she replied calmly. He just talked. You're punishing him for something he didn't even do. I told her to lose my number and hung up. That's when his friends joined in. Direct messages on Instagram, Facebook, even LinkedIn. One of his longtime friends sent a message so long it required scrolling, lecturing me about how loyalty tests are toxic and how I violated Mark's privacy. The irony was so thick it almost made me laugh. Another friend said I was ruining Mark's reputation and needed to think about what I was doing to his future. I replied once, his behavior will ruin his future. I'm just not covering for it. Then I blocked him too. The petty retaliation came next. Mark somehow got access to my Venmo history and started sending requests. One after another. $150 for a birthday dinner, $200 for concert tickets, grocery receipts, dates he planned, gifts he chose. The memo on one request read, half of what I spent on you the last 3 months. The entitlement was staggering. I declined every request. Within an hour, I got another text from a new number. So now you're stealing from me too. Add theft to manipulation. That was the moment something in me snapped. I wasn't scared anymore. I was angry. The final straw came when I ran into his cousin at Target. We made eye contact. She recognized me. Then she physically turned her cart around and walked the other way. That hurt more than the insults. Mark had told everyone that I was abusive, that I psychologically tortured him, that he was the victim of a relationship built on manipulation and control. And people believed him. I went home that night and sat on my couch in silence, replaying everything. The bar, the recording, the confrontation, the lies, the deflection, the harassment. Then I realized something important. I had been playing defense, and Mark had been counting on that, so I stopped. The next morning, I called a lawyer friend. Not to sue, not yet, just to understand my options. She listened quietly, then said, "You need a cease and desist." $300 later, a formal letter was drafted and sent via certified mail to Mark's apartment and his parents' house. Stop contacting me. Stop defaming me. Stop harassing me, or I will pursue legal action. But I wasn't done. I called Mark's best friend, the one who'd lectured me about loyalty tests, left a voicemail. Since you're so concerned about the truth, I said calmly, I'm happy to send you the recording of what Mark said about his roommate girlfriend. Let me know. I didn't actually plan to send it. I just wanted him to feel the ground shift. Then I called Mark's mother. If your son contacts me again, I said, steady and clear, I'm pursuing a restraining order. I filed a police report. I have documentation. I suggest you tell him to move on. She started yelling. I hung up. That night, Maya and I blocked every mutual connection who had sent hateful messages or blindly taken his side. Clean slate. No access. I posted one thing on my Instagram. Nothing specific. Just a sentence. Grateful for friends who respect boundaries and honesty. Petty, maybe. Satisfying, absolutely. When the cease and desist was delivered, my phone finally went quiet. No texts, no calls, no Venmo requests. For the first time in weeks, I slept through the night. I didn't feel happy, but I felt safe, and that was enough to breathe again. The cease and desist worked for exactly 4 days. Just long enough for me to think maybe, finally, Mark had burned himself out. That maybe embarrassment or legal language had reached the part of him that still understood consequences. I was wrong. Tuesday morning, I walked into my gym at 6 a.m. like I always did. Same routine, same playlist, same comfort and familiarity. I barely made it past the front desk before I saw him. Mark was on a treadmill near the entrance, facing the doors, watching. The second our eyes met, he hopped off and started walking toward me, like this was some rom-com reunion, instead of the escalation of harassment it clearly was. My chest tightened, but I didn't freeze. I turned immediately and walked to the front desk. There's someone here who's been harassing me, I said quietly. I need help. The employee on duty was a tall guy named Travis. I'd seen him around for years, but never spoken to him. He didn't hesitate. He stepped between Mark and me before Mark could say another word. Sir, Travis said firmly, the lady doesn't want to talk to you. You need to leave. This is between me and my girlfriend, Mark snapped. X, I corrected, and I have a cease and desist against you. Travis didn't flinch. You've got 30 seconds to leave or I call the police. Mark tried to argue. Travis started counting down out loud. 30, 29, 28. Mark stormed out at 15, yelling across the gym that I'd regret this. I filed another police report that afternoon. This time, it was taken seriously. Witness, documentation, prior harassment. The officer went to Mark's apartment and gave him an official warning, one step before a restraining order. That night, my phone rang from an unknown number. Against my better judgment, I answered. It was Mark's father. I'd met him twice in 3 years. They weren't close. His voice was tired. I heard what's been going on, he said. My son's behavior is unacceptable. I didn't know what to say. His mother enables him, he continued. Always has. But showing up at your gym, contacting your work, that's not okay. I told him to leave you alone. It was the first reasonable thing anyone in his family had said to me. 2 days later, a message came through on Facebook from a woman I didn't know. Hi, I know this is random, but are you Sarah? My stomach dropped. Her name was Jessica. She thought we might have dated the same man. We got on the phones that night and compared timelines. Dinners, Mark said, were work nights. Evenings, he claimed he was exhausted. The overlap was undeniable. He hadn't just tried to cheat. He had been cheating. Jessica told me Mark said I was jealous, unstable, and basically out of the picture, that our relationship was already over. She broke things off when he became clingy and intense. She sent screenshots, messages where he complained about me, messages where he played victim. It hurt, worse than the bar, worse than the insults. But it also clarified everything. I sent one final text from a free number. I know about Jessica. I know you were cheating the last month. Do not contact me again. Then I blocked him. He tried calling 16 times from different numbers over the next 3 hours. I didn't answer any of them. By the next day, the noise stopped. And for the first time since this began, it felt like the truth had finally closed in around him. The silence that followed felt unreal. After weeks of noise, accusations, and constant vigilance, the absence of Mark's presence was almost disorienting. I kept waiting for another number to light up my phone, another message, another demand. Nothing came. Jessica reached out once more to check in. We met for coffee, not as allies plotting revenge, but as two women comparing notes after surviving the same storm. She wasn't dramatic. She wasn't angry. She was just tired. "He's really good at lying," she said quietly, especially to himself. That sentence stayed with me. A few days later, Mark's best friend messaged me. A short apology, no excuses. Just an admission that Mark had finally told the truth, that he'd been cheating, lying, and manipulating everyone around him. According to him, even Mark's mother had gone quiet once his father confronted her with the full story. The Instagram post vanished. The Venmo requests disappeared. The narrative collapsed under its own weight. I changed gyms, not out of fear, but intention. I wanted no shared spaces, no accidental encounters. A clean start. I rearranged my apartment. New art, new pillows, different lighting. It stopped feeling like the place we once shared and started feeling like mine. I began therapy, not because I doubted myself, but because I refused to carry this forward. Betrayal has a way of lingering if you don't unpack it properly. My therapist helped me name what happened. Gaslighting, projection, blame shifting. And something else, trusting my intuition. The loyalty test didn't break the relationship. It exposed the truth that was already there. Mark failed not because I tested him, but because he was already choosing to betray me before the test ever existed. One night, lying in bed, I realized something surprising. I didn't miss him. Not his voice, not his presence, not the future I thought we were building. I mourned the idea of what I believed we had. But the man who lied, blamed, harassed, and stalked me was not someone I loved. He was someone I survived. The last I heard, Mark was still telling people that two women conspired against him, that he was the victim of manipulation and madness. The mental gymnastics continued. And for the first time, I truly didn't care. The people who mattered knew the truth. I knew the truth. I'm 28 years old. I have my whole life ahead of me. I sleep better now. I breathe easier. There's peace in my home and clarity in my mind. So yes, I tested his loyalty. He failed spectacularly. And when he tried to turn that failure into my flaw, it only confirmed that walking away was the best decision I've ever made. No regrets, not a single one.